Fig Tree. I'm Troy.
And I'm Bruce.
And we are so glad you're here today. Got a good topic for you, and we want to share that today. We're going to talk about preaching to the choir. Bruce, you want to explain that to our listeners?
Yeah, Troy, I'd been looking at something for a little while, where social media, where the church and social media are concerned. And we talk a lot about the kingdom. We're kingdom people. We're kingdom citizens. And so if you're a kingdom citizen, you learn to see everything through the lens of the kingdom.
Yeah, at least the best you can.
At least the best you can, exactly. And so I've just been looking at this thing, man, and I probably have more questions. I'll have more questions in this episode than answers, But I just been looking at and wondering how effective are, and I'm going to say we, because I don't know too many people, especially ministers and ministries, that don't have a social media presence, right?
Yeah.
And I just got to wondering, man, how effective, are we? What are the pros and cons to being on social media? And probably for me more specifically, and I'm just going to jump right in, okay?
That's cool.
One of the things that kind of bothers me about our modern way, or it's one of the ways, I should say, of trying to get the gospel out or trying to get your message out or whatever.
Yeah.
It kind of bothers me because for the most part, we're using someone else's platform to do so. Right. And the someone else, I'm going to give him a name. His name is the world.
I got you.
So we were talking before we started recording, and I used an analogy, or I painted a picture. What if back in the day, the politicians would go stumping, what they call stumping. They would go out, and literally stand on a stump if they had nothing else, right? And project their message that they're the best candidate and please vote for them, so on and so forth. And then they got really sophisticated and started riding on the back of pickup trucks, with bullhorns and the person's driving them around. And I got to thinking about the kingdom and social media today from that perspective. What if you were asking someone to use their pickup truck for you to stand on the back of and give your message as they drive around town?
Yeah.
But the person that owns the pickup truck doesn't like you or your message. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of how I see a lot of what's happening right now with kingdom people and ministers trying to do their best. I don't, this is not to diminish anybody or point fingers or anything like that. I really believe that, most of the people out there that are ministers and have ministries that are on social media, including us, right?
Yes.
Are trying to do our best to get the message out that we believe God has given us to get out. I'm just concerned that we're using someone's platform that doesn't like us or our Jesus. And it just fills me with all these questions as to how effective we're actually being in that regard.
Well, since we're going to jump right in, I think your questions are very valid. When you start to explain it from that perspective, what I'm seeing is, okay, even if it is effective, how long will the powers that be allow it to be effective?
Exactly, man.
Yeah, so because you don't own the platform, it's owned by somebody else, and to your point, it's owned by somebody else that does not necessarily believe or serve the same God that we serve.
Sure.
But rather would serve the God of this world.
Yeah.
Whether it's knowingly or unknowingly.
Right.
If you get that wild hair and say, you know what, this is a bit much. Let's go ahead and shut this down.
Or we know this to be true, and I won't call any by name, but we know this to be true on some of the most popular platforms on the planet.
Yeah.
Where if someone, in their organization decides that they don't like your message, they can even throttle it back. We know that happens, where you should be able to reach thousands, maybe millions, and you're reaching hundreds, if that, because you don't own the platform, and because, the people who do, once again, are more interested in the bottom line. They're more interested in dollars. We live in America, so I'll use dollars.
Yeah.
Even though this is all over the world, but they're more interested in dollars. And if you present something that makes the algorithm do its job and push you out there, it's certainly not from the perspective of, oh, we really like your message. It's just from the perspective of, hey, there's a lot of people tuning in. We don't like them, but I guess we'll let them hang around for a while. But the moment that you finally say something that they really, really can't stand, then you're throttled back and or completely eliminated. And that should bother, because what's the alternative? The alternative is, for me, in my mind, the alternative, Troy, is, so then I'm going to, I will probably then have to get really creative on what I say and how I say it.
Sure.
Okay, that's fine. But for some who may not be that creative to figure out how to say something and still say it without actually saying it and using particular words that they know are going to get them throttled back, they may just omit altogether.
Yeah.
Now, that's a problem if you're a kingdom dweller and you believe that God has given you a message to, given you something to say, but it's a hot button topic in the world. And the world says, no. We don't care how much money. We don't care how many people are tuning into you. You don't get to say that. We're pulling you back, right? That's a problem for me.
Which can happen and has happened, right? So, so there's no secret, or maybe people don't know it, but it has not been a secret. We never set out to monetize this podcast.
Absolutely.
That's never been something that we were looking to do. Still not something we're looking to do. We're looking to put a message out. We're looking to offer help the best that we can, and to point people back to a living God and not a system made by men.
Sure.
Right. So that's been the goal from the beginning. So monetization has never been in the plan.
Right.
The reason I say that is once you monetize, it's a lot easier to control you.
Yes.
A whole lot
absolutely.
easier.
Absolutely.
So even monetization coming from donations. Yeah. And we don't turn down donations or anything like that. But people sometimes feel like they can control you because I donate this much.
Right.
And really didn't like that last podcast, kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. So if you would, could you please not say that kind of stuff anymore?
Wow.
And well, I mean, just being real about it, and sometimes the pressure of that can cause you to acquiesce.
Yeah, sure.
It can cause you to turn away, and, we want to keep this money coming in, or you want to keep a certain type of profile. You want to keep a certain type of status with your ministry or with your podcast or with whatever it is. You know what I mean? You want to keep that level. And so in order to keep that level, we're probably going to have to, throttle it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's kingdom.
Yeah.
That kind of way. We take, we move, we push borders. That's what the kingdom does.
That's what we do.
And I don't think the world allows for that.
Well, it doesn't. I mean, especially, in context of what we're talking about, being on social media, it really doesn't, unless you own the medium.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. This is not a social media example, but I think it's a great example. I many years ago, I knew a man of God who had a significantly large ministry. And one of the things that I always liked about this particular gentleman was at the time he had a ministry to men who were addicted to drugs, alcohol, what have you. He had the opportunity to receive government funding to help with that ministry, and could have doubled or tripled it. Now some ministers will look at this from one perspective and say, hey, in America, it's called 501, C3, So, and I understand it. Some ministers will look at it and say, hey, wow, okay, I can take that funding and I can help so many more. The only problem is, as you just stated, it comes with caveats.
There's strings attached, man.
There's strings attached,
Yeah.
right? And I always like the fact that this particular gentleman that I'm referring to decided that we're not going to do that, because if we need to get them up at 1 o'clock in the morning and have everybody on their knees praying, you know what I'm saying? We can do that. We can say Jesus as many times as we want, right? Yeah. Because there's no strings attached, because we didn't take the world's money per se. And I always like that, man. You know, so even in talking about being on social media, the efficacy of having a ministry tool, perceived and actual. Perceived versus actual. And that's where I got the term preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
You see, because I really would wonder how many believers, how many ministers or ministries have unbelievers who are friends of theirs on social media, or who follow them on social media.
Yeah, and I think with that, when you're saying perceived or actual, especially using the term preaching to the choir. So if I'm putting this message out, is the ministry, I say that with my quotes up,
right?
Is it really reaching the world, or is it just reaching my circle?
Well, it seems quite obvious to me.
Yeah. I'm with you.
It seems quite obvious to me. And of course, there are those little things you can do. You can, on one particular very popular social media site, you can go public. Mm-hmm. I've personally had the experience. I have two different pages on this particular social media site. I'll use mine as an example.
Okay.
Both of them are dedicated to the things that God has given me to say that I believe I'm supposed to publish to people. Okay.
Right.
But one of them, I actually made a public site on purpose. And what I did was I let that thing sit there without paying the social media platform mm-hmm. to push my posts.
Yeah.
And never got one hit.
Yeah.
Until I paid my first $20, and then they promoted that post.
Yeah.
To my earlier point.
Yeah, the money's going to drive it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got all these, and of course the hits I got were insane. It's like they must have pushed it out to every ungodly person on the planet, right? Because some of the comments, and I left the comments open on purpose because I want to understand what's out there and how people think.
Get more attention than you bargained
because
for.
Because it's not the choir.
It is not the choir.
You see? Yeah. And so I'm just saying, obviously there are ways that you can do that and maybe work with the platform that doesn't belong to us, but you got to be smart about how you do it. But at some point, I think we have to look at how effective are we really being just getting on and saying stuff and posting stuff.
Yeah, and I think ministry is multifaceted. So it's not just ministry to the world, but there's a place. So even when I said it earlier, are you just reaching your circle? There's still ministry to be done there too.
Oh, absolutely.
However, if the content that you have is content for the world, for instance, the lost, then why do we preach that message of the lost to our
to the choir?
Yeah. So I think that's where you have to start looking at, okay, what's your message? And is this the best way to reach people with said message?
Yeah.
If the message is to encourage the believers, boom, there you go. It can be right there within your circle.
Sure.
Unless, and I'm going to say this probably a bit tongue in cheek, I'm going to say this is unless your ministry has only been relegated to just your friends.
Okay.
Which we know that's probably not. It's probably going to.
But no, I mean, but it's a valid point. Once again, I use myself as an example. I'm called to the kingdom as a prophet.
Correct.
As a prophet, my primary, the way that I see it and the way that I believe God's given to me to see it, my primary function is not just to tell people about their next level and about their next blessing. My primary function as a prophet, number one, is to the body, right?
Yep.
So much of what I say, I'm saying to the body, and it's to the body very specifically to help the body stay clean.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's to help the body grow straight and true and stay uncontaminated. So yeah, to your point, there's certainly people out there, I'm one of them, that are called to say much of what they say actually to the body, and you're going to have that. But that's only one facet.
Right.
I'm concerned about what level of personal responsibility. Because, man, you know, I okay, I scroll, Troy.
Yep.
I'm not on social media a lot these days.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for it. I have person to person, in your face ministry and life to do with people.
Sure.
And people to grow and people to help me grow and so on and so forth, right?
Sure.
So I really limit how much I'm on social media,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I have for a little while now. And so if I get something and I say, Lord, do you want me to publish this? And I feel like I'm supposed to, then I go on and I publish it. And I might not go back to it for days, you know, because I'm not looking for likes and how many people saw it and all of that. That's just not where I live. You know?
Right.
But one of the things that I am concerned about is talking about preaching to the choir is so many people who just get on and they just say things. Because I see a lot of stuff, Troy, that's not necessarily biblical.
Oh,
It sounds good.
Yeah, it's inspirational. Maybe
It's inspirational.
Yeah.
It sometimes pawns off as wisdom. Ooh,
Yeah.
did I say that? Anyway,
Yeah, you did.
but
yeah, you did.
And it concerns me. And I know it concerns me from a prophetic perspective because I'm a prophet. It concerns me because my job is to help keep it clean.
Yeah.
You know, and so I look at what high personal responsibility in even posting, whether you're posting to the world or to the choir, how biblically sound is it?
That has to be at the forefront because this is the problem with presenting yourself as a kingdom ambassador, but not being biblically sound. What ends up happening is you paint a picture of a false Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
And you paint an image of God that's not true.
Yeah.
And then now what happens is people come and poke holes in it.
Yeah.
And you don't have enough hands to cover all the holes, you know?
Right.
Because you've painted this erroneous picture.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody does it maliciously. I think some people just, you know, they're on fire.
Yeah.
And can I say this?
Yeah, you can.
If you're out there, look, we're not against social media.
We're on it. We can't.
We're on it. Yeah. So that's not what we're doing. We're talking this thing out, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this for any of you guys that are out there and you love to teach God's word, preach God's word, whatever you like to do. If you're more enamored with the preaching than you are the studying, then you're performing.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
That's exactly what
you're
it
really
boils
not
down
preaching.
to.
You're really not teaching. It's really performance.
Yeah.
If you're more motivated and all you want to do is preach, but you don't want to put in the work to study, to show yourself approved unto God, then you're more about performance than you are about presence.
Wow.
We don't need the performance. You need the presence of God to go with you and before you.
Yes.
Before you jump on and start to explain some things that maybe you don't have a firm grasp on. If you hear something for the first time, and we teach a lot, you know that. We teach in various different places. We teach a lot. And I always tell people, when you hear this teaching, don't just run out and start teaching it yourself.
Oh, boy.
Until you have a firm understanding of it and have applied it and seen fruit from it, don't run out and just start teaching it.
Well, you know, it's the old adage, revelation is not revelation to you until it's working in your life.
Correct. All day long.
But I mean, you're expressing one of my concerns with social media.
Sure. And a lot of people out there, you know, for lack of a better term, they go out half-cocked and they're on fire for God. It's not that you're not on fire you are on fire for God, but there's a zeal according to knowledge that you're supposed to have.
Exactly.
And it's good to have the zeal, but if you don't have the knowledge to go with that, it's better to sit down In fact, it's the right thing to do to sit down under some sound teaching.
Yeah.
And before you go out, make sure that you have it right. It is better for you to be 3 years late and have it right than to go 5 years early and have it wrong.
But that works against popularity.
Absolutely.
Which is my next thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you have this friends and followers thing that comes with social media.
Yeah, I couldn't wait till you got to this point. 'Cause I have something to say about this too.
Oh, come on, man. Come on. Because see, once again, okay.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you join us again under the fig tree.